Imagine to have candid conversations about all things business as a confident Christian woman coach and CEO. Imagine a safe place to share, connect, grow, build as you unlock what's inside you. A confident Christian woman coach and CEO to clarify your specific mission, message, mandate, mantle to market. Imagine a safe place to learn how to develop a business blueprint, lay a firm foundation with business structure, policies, procedures, service, and product development that builds the business framework and construction. Welcome to Confident Woman Incubator Podcast. I am your host, Coach Doreen Lettsome Reid, certified business coach to confident Christian women coaches. Confident Woman Incubator Podcast is a platform for you, Christian women coaches that desire a safe place to unlock what's inside you, to develop a business blueprint, gain clarity of their specific mission, message, mandate, mantle to market, lay a firm foundation with business structure, policies, procedures, service, product development that builds the business framework and construction to overcome fear, shatter misconceptions, increase confidence, and profit by faith in all things business. Welcome to Confident Woman Incubator Podcast. Join us each week for these candid conversations to unlock what's inside you in all things business. Well, hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning to all of you from the four corners of the world. It is an amazing opportunity to just have this moment to be with you, to share, connect, grow, and build in all things business. This is your opportunity to get keys to unlock what's inside you. Now, ladies, you know what we do right here on Confident Woman Incubator Podcast. We drop it in the comments, hashtag the confident woman. That's what we do right here. So we welcome you to this week's broadcast. I am your host, Dr. Doreen Lettsome Reid, certified business coach to confident Christian women coaches. And you know what? We are still releasing more Christian coaching businesses. Yes, we're still going. And we are now in the month of November. We started in October, releasing all of the businesses that have actually built their business and brand in only 90 days while becoming a co-author of the book, Are You Lit? Leader Intentionally Trailblazing, which are going to give you some secrets to trailblazing. You're going to be able to read these amazing businesses from these business women and as well as from a gentleman's perspective. This book is phenomenal. These businesses being released are phenomenal. And we just keep going right here this week with another Christian coaching business that has been a success. And they have all of these Christian coaching businesses are in my signature coaching program called All Things Business Builder, where we literally build your business and brand in only 90 days. So what you want to do is pull out that phone right now and go to Confident Woman Incubator Podcast on my Facebook page. You want to go ahead and share it out right now and get your phone. If you haven't gotten, you don't know where the phone is, call yourself because you don't want to miss this episode of Confident Woman Incubator Podcast. It is going to be lit. Yes, it is. Come on now. All right. So go ahead and share it out with your community. You go to Confident Woman Incubator Podcast Facebook group, and you will see us airing live right now. If you are on LinkedIn, we appreciate our LinkedIn community joining Confident Woman Incubator Podcast. We are excited over here. We're excited because it takes a lot of intentionality It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of strategic work behind the scenes to really build a business and brand in 90 days. But above all, it actually takes laser focus. And Coach Kimberly Yhap has done that and exceeded any expectations that we may have had for this particular program. She's an international coach. She lives and resides in Canada and has connections throughout the globe. And so I am so excited to just bring her out. I am just saluting you today, Coach Kimberly Yhap. I am so excited for you. This is your day. Has it even sunk in yet that we've been talking about it for the 90 days that you would be doing this, taking you through the steps, every step of the way, and clarifying your specific mission, your message, your mandate, your mantle, and now you're to market. So you have gone through those different steps. What is your brain telling you right now?
It's just a wow. It's just a wow. I am so privileged, and I am so privileged to have a God who cared so much to direct my steps. As one who have tried this before, who have ventured out before, trying to pull things together, just because of the vision I have of helping other women, I was just going around in circles. And I know one of the things you like to say, Dr. Doreen, is that no more circles, we're climbing steps. And you know what? It has been a whirlwind of getting focus and refocusing. And building a business is a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of exciting work. But one of the things I like what you stress, that we listen to Dr. Foster. And one of the things he says, you know what? In the beginning, it's lots of work. It will get easier, right? And so yes, I'm excited to be here. It's excited to be on this particular journey. And thank you so much for the privilege of being in being a part of the Confident Women Incubator podcast, for being in the building your business in 90 days. I really appreciate all of the help that you've given me thus far, and I'm looking forward to the rest.
And you know what, Coach Kimberly, you brought out a really good point. You have had the privilege to really get in the trenches of what it means to be a coach, because not only are you focusing on your clients, which you have today, your community that you're building today with the Are You Lit anthology, getting your readers, getting people excited, but also encouraging people just to go on this journey with you as you're releasing this business and brand, because you just built it in 90 days. But you really hit on some key factors here today when you were talking about all of the work. A lot of times when you hear the terminology coach, you just think about, oh, I'm just going to talk to people all day. I'm going to be on the phone all day. I'm going to be on Zoom all day. Can you enlighten everyone what true coaching is really about, and what this program, All Things Business Builder, has really exposed you to, as far as the behind the scenes, as well as preparing you for in front of the house, what you would say, in front of the house and the behind the house of coaching? Would you like to just talk to us just a little bit about that? Because I think you have a good perspective about that most people do not get when they go into a coaching program.
You know what? That is so true. I think I have approached other coaching programs before, but one of the things that you brought to this particular program is getting down to the basics. Foundation was everything, right? And one of the things as a Christian coach, you wanted to make sure that, listen, we knew what the message was. We know what our mission was first, and then the message. What is the message you're trying to convey? Who are you trying to work with? Well, how are you wanting to help these people? What is the message they're hearing from you? Recognizing that there's a mantle, there's an anointing. God has called you to this. This is not just coaching. This is God is positioning you. He's commissioned you, and he's positioning you for a purpose, to be one kingdompreneurs, as you love to call it. We're called to go out into the marketplace. And so he's given us that mantle. But then we also need to be prepared for market. We need to be prepared ourselves to be able to welcome the people who are coming to us, so that we can take them through that process of whether it's healing or whatever they need. And that's why they're coming to us. So, yeah.
Such a unique perspective, and this is the proof in the pudding. I tell you, these ladies are here. Welcome to Confident Woman Incubator podcast. Welcome, 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 ladies. I tell you, you look beautiful. Your smiles are radiant. I can see them just brightening all the way from where you are to where I am, and I'm in South Carolina. So that's a bright smile, right? That's just a bright smile. Welcome to Confident Woman Incubator podcast. We are so excited to have you here to really celebrate Coach Kimberly Yhap, who is in Canada. She's international. And you ladies are here. You're going to tell us who you are and all the things. We're going to let Coach Kimberly have the floor. And she's going to take over at this point and introduce everyone. And then at that point, we're going to let Coach Kimberly Yhap tell us exactly what she does concerning her Christian coaching business and who she's called to serve. For the last 25 years, you, Coach Kimberly Yhap, have been serving and serving and serving and sowing and sowing. And now it's your time to reap. It's time to unlock what's inside you. So thank you so much, ladies, for being here.
So thank you to my special guests. Thank you for first accepting this invitation to join me to be a part of this process. And I really, really appreciate it. And so I'll ask you to introduce yourself. And so I'll start with my international guest. So could I ask, I'll say Merlin, could you tell me your full name and where you're from?
I'm Merlin Thompson, and I'm from the Caribbean, Dominica, but I live in Oregon, in the States.
Great, yep. Thank you. So we're international because Merlin is from Dominica, and I saw her share this link. So we're international here today. Okay, and then I come to Maurice. Maurice, you'll have to pronounce your last name for me. Let's have the floor here.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. I'm Maurice Dosu. I always like to joke, say, don't sue, Dosu. And I'm based in Brooklyn, New York.
Okay, great. And Maurice comes from?
I hail from the sunny shores of Guyana, South America.
And I'm so privileged to have Gloria, and ask Gloria to introduce herself as well.
Hi, everyone. I'm Gloria, and I'm also from Toronto, Canada. I work with Kim there.
Yeah, and Gloria, just tell them where you're from originally.
I'm originally a Ghanaian African girl. I'm a Ghanaian girl.
That's right. And so we're all over the globe right now. We're really international. And I really want to, thank you again for being here. I'll tell you a little bit about me. Yes, I am here from Canada. But guess what? I was born in England, international, bred in South America, Guyana, from the sunny Guyana. And so I'm happy that you're here. And I'm so glad that that you can share this particular platform with me. My name is Coach Kimberly Yhap. I'm a menstrual and hormonal wellness coach, founder of Empowered to Overcome Academy. I support highly motivated married professional Christian women aged 25 to 35 that are experiencing infertility, painful irregular menstrual cycles, PMS, mood swings, and mental health challenges, helping them to make the mental and menstrual health connection, uncover and identify menstrual cycle sabotages, cycle abnormalities and imbalances with empowering individualized strategies and step-by-step protocols while learning how to navigate the medical system to break free from menstrual sabotage. So I'm so glad that you're here and to be with me as I introduce the purpose, the reason behind the Empowered to Overcome Academy. Now, this academy has been created to help highly motivated Christian women. They've been through the rigors of college, of university. They've just landed their first real paying job, met the man of their dreams, got married. And so you think the next step is building a family. And I've been in that place before. But guess what? Building a family seems to be eluding them just because of issues of diagnoses of infertility, unexplained infertility, painful irregular cycles. Some of them have no idea when they're ovulating, mood swings, PMS, and mental health issues. Now, the academy itself, the aim is to empower women with knowledge, empower women with knowledge about their menstrual cycle. There is a lot of information out in the world today. There is a lot. It can be found everywhere. But women are still ignorant about their reproductive health. The Bible tells us that people perish. Let's just say it. Women are perishing and suffering because of lack of knowledge. Lack of knowledge, and we talk about breaking menstrual sabotages. Lack of knowledge is the number one menstrual cycle saboteur. And so at the Academy, we want to help women to break free from this by providing a safe place to learn, to ask questions via whether it's individual or in group coaching. One of the reasons why I'm so impassioned about what I'm doing here is because of the things that we're seeing in the media. Hear this. The Guardian newspaper in 2019 said, "We don't need to bleed." These are women writing this. Why many women are giving up on periods. The Atlantic in 2015 said, "Women don't need to have periods." In 2020, they're still continuing. No one has to get their periods anymore. Now, girls here, I want to assure you that God knew what he was doing when he made the menstrual cycle. He connected the whole process to our brains. If we tamper with our brains, we tamper with our menstrual cycle. If we tamper with our menstrual cycle, we tamper with our brains. And so at the Academy, we want to help women understand that mental and menstrual health connection and embrace who we are as special daughters of our great Creator King. That's one of the reasons why we're here. And that's why I continue my impassioned purpose right now as I build this academy. Okay, so I want to ask, do anyone have any questions for me before? If you have any questions for me, I would be happy to answer them.
Sure, Kim. I really enjoyed your presentation and I could hear your heart and feel your passion. Could you share any experience that stands out for you working with any of your clients?
Wow, I am so glad you asked that question. I do have a special one that's very close to my heart, and it has to do with the people I worked with. I remember there's one particular woman that I worked with. It was in the middle of the night shift, and she came to me. She fit every criteria that I just spoke about. She had completed her nursing degree. She's a professional. She was now married. She's enjoying her married life. But what was eluding her was a baby. And I remember her coming to me because, of course, she knew what I did and things like that. And she said to me, "Kim, you know what? I've been married and I'm not being able to get a child as yet." And I can remember sitting with her, listening to her. This is in the wee hours of the morning. And we talked. And I said to her, "Listen, I have some information that I can share with you. When I get home, I will send it to you." So she was my mission when I got home. I got home, got on the computer, and I sent her the information. She took that information. I didn't hear back from her on the subject. She took that information. Now, I heard about this months later. She took that information, walked to her physician, and said, "Do I have this?" At that point, all the physician was telling her just to go and have more intercourse, just to go and have more intercourse, right? And when she took the information to him, that was when he started the process of investigating and even giving her some treatment for it. Long and short of the story, we met up months later, and I'm sure sharing with her my surprise news at age 44, being pregnant with my last child. And she said to me, "Kim, I'm 7 weeks pregnant." She said, "I took that information to you. That's when he started to work on me. I'm 7 weeks pregnant and with twins." right? And it just shows the power of information, the power of empowerment. So I'm so happy to share that story. It's my happy story.
Wonderful.
Yes, it's my happy story. Happy story. Great. Any other questions here? Merlin?
Yes, I always remember in your not your coach, well, your last coach, when you were talking about having your cycles, and some women have like really bad cramps, and sometimes you say it's like it depends on the things that you eat that give you the cramps. But also I wanted to know if you get it from your it's a generational thing.
Great,
Is
great.
it?
Great question. Great question. And as we talk about the heredity pathway and things like that. And like most of our issues, it's like a four-legged stool, right? You have one thing, whether it's nutrition, you have one thing, whether it's environment, we have genetics, we have our rest cycle, we have all of those things. But one of the things I really want to clue in on your question right now in terms of the genetic part, and I'm going to clue in on it from this point of view, from us girls of color. All right. Now, us girls of color, and of course, your mom is a girl of color. Your grandma is a girl of color. But one of the things that they're finding right now with girls of color is that we are so vitamin D deficient. Right? That's a big one. We're vitamin D deficient, and so it takes us a longer time to get to ovulation. So we learn a lot about this in the academy, but this is a sneak peek here. So as we take a longer time to get to ovulation, it means that we're having a lot more uterine buildup, right? So guess what? We have that buildup there. But one of the other things that vitamin D helps with is that we call them prostaglandins, which is that inflammatory factor. If we are low in our Ds, it could mean that we're more of the inflammatory side. And so this is one of the things that we're seeing as women of color. Lots of us are experiencing very low vitamin D levels. So we may not be able to change our genetics to a certain extent, but we can change some of the other things, whether it is our meals, what we eat, some of the other things in terms of environment, what we're putting on our skin, what we're taking in. Some of those things really alter our hormones and stuff like that. And so the things that we can change, we need to change. So here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm not sure about Oregon and the sunlight, but the first thing, get your face out into the sun. It's early morning. Get some sunlight on your face. We have to learn to get more. We girls of color have to learn to get more ways to get more vitamin D into us. And so there are many other aspects of the pain as well, like your mineral levels, magnesium, very, very anti-relaxing, very relaxing, sorry. And so, you know what, fruits and vegetables, you have to take those. You've got to make sure you get your green leafy vegetables in, rich source of magnesium. So those are two tips I want to share. Yes, genetics probably do play a part in it, right? But right now, we know that, but we have to move forward and try to do things for ourselves in our little square that we're in. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Yeah.
Great. Okay. Gloria, do you have anything for me?
I think my question for you, Kim, is that you said that lack of knowledge is one of the biggest barriers for women, and it's very true. I think I was very fortunate that we've had personal encounters and face-to-face encounters for me to get the knowledge and the information that I need. So my question is for this is something that every woman needs. And my question is, what is your vision for spreading this information that a lot of women are lacking, a lot of girls are lacking, a lot of middle-aged women are lacking, and a lot of older women are even lacking? What is your vision for this?
Thank you so much for asking me that question. I have a twin. She's going to be 10 in the next month. My vision is to make sure that from preschool, kids know about this information, right? And so it may mean that, yes, moms who are here, who go through the program, will be educated so as to be able to be forewarned and prepared for their children, prepared for their daughters. But my vision is so, and it has gone beyond borders to make sure that, you know what, and I'm thankful for this particular podcast. So to be able to just share this, it's important to get the word out there. And, you know, I can probably say this, you know, Gloria, we work together, but I'm all talk menstrual cycle, right? And like, you know, just like take, for instance, a woman, I hear the story of a woman having, mental health challenges. My mind says, I wonder what's going on with her cycle. She needs to know that. She needs to have that connection. She needs to know that. And so, yes, I do. Of course, I love the podcast. I love individuals, speaking to me one-on-one. We will be opening the academy for group coaching, a monthly group coaching, safe place, ask questions, learn from others. Just like what we're doing today, right? Is we're learning from others. If you have invitations, you know what? I'm happy to be one of your speakers, wherever you want to, your women's group, your couples group. I am willing to make sure I be a voice for women. Women health is being stated differently these days. What we're hearing as women health is shut her down. We're hearing interrupt a woman's cycle with chemicals as women's health. This is what we're hearing. This is what's on the news. And the thing about it is that we are isolating or segmentalizing our uteruses from every other part of our bodies. And we're doing things with our uteruses that are not right, and it is affecting us health-wise. I saw an article this week that talked about dementia and was even connecting it to menstrual cycles. So just think about the years of women on birth control pills who have stopped their cycles in the past, not recognizing that could have been something that has the dementia or the Alzheimer's in early ages could have been, I don't know all the details, but just let's think about it, right? Our estrogen levels are neuroprotective to our brains, right? And so this is so important for women to know, for our girls to know this from a very early age.
And I would like to chime in here as well, Coach Kimberly. What I'm seeing too is in the marketplace, there is a pitch to our 20 to, I think it even starts around 17 to 20-year-olds with pushing this product that, it's fun. I don't have to have any bloating. I don't have to worry about a period. I don't, they make it seem like it's like it's just a wonderful thing. And then in the end of the commercial, you notice they are listing about 20 different side effects. Now, while the side effects are playing, you still see this young, beautiful, vibrant young lady. Maybe she's doing tennis. She's doing something very active where she feels like she doesn't have to worry about a maxi pad. She doesn't have to worry about a tampon. But it's really a lie. It's really a lie. Because at the flip side of that, we see an increase of ovarian cancer.
Yeah.
And on the flip side of that, we also see an increase of breast cancer. And on the flip side of that, we also now understand that there is an increase of mental health issues and wellness that often stimulate and start from stress levels. So if my hormones are off balance, due to taking these, as you said, chemicals that is portrayed as something wonderful and fun and light, and not really understanding the weight of what you're doing to your body.
Yes.
Then when you are finished being 17 and 20 and you get to 30 and you're ready, like you said, to settle down, you've already established your profession. now you are more stable to have children, then they tell you run to the the IVF doctor. They tell you run to the infertility clinic. They
That's
tell
right.
you, well, you need to freeze your eggs because you don't know. And I want to hear your response because, since you and I have been working together these 90 days to build your business and brand, a lot has been enlightened to me. And I'm starting to see these issues. And then, like you said, it's with primarily women of color. It's like we're being brushed aside that we don't want you to have children. It's almost like when we were in the 70s and the 60s where those experiments were done to hinder us from having children. They literally went into our bodies and distorted things so that we would not have children. Do you think that this is just a fresh way of marketing to stop African American women from having children?
That's an interesting question. That's an interesting question, Coach Doreen. I think one of the things that I think is plaguing apparently African American women is that one, they are not being educated enough. Sometimes it has to do with their level of education. That's one of them. I mean, they're not being educated enough, and so lots of things are being pushed at them. Yeah, that's a very big question, and it also tells us definitely the reason why we need to be sisters to sisters and pass on this information. As you rightly said, when you look at the commercial tells one story. It doesn't tell the other story that these same women who are taking these products are also taking other things for their mental health. And the sad part of it is that when they go to their doctors, they're kind of brushed aside as to, oh no, it could never be the birth control pill. It's all in your head. And we've had that happening indeed for us throughout the ages. Yes, now for women of color are complaining that most of our practitioners are probably not of our same color, and they're not listening to us, right? They're quick to write a prescription for us, right? And I think that and I think that's the reason why, for me, even across the board, is to really be able to make sure every woman has this information for herself, that she is able to advocate as much as she can. I know there can be pushback in the medical system, but as much as she can, she should be able to know what her cycle is like. She should be able to know that, yes, heavy bleeding, 8 days, 9 days, 10 days. No, I can't go through life with this for all the time. And we're seeing our women experiencing this. They're going through this for years. Husbands are complaining, you know what? She has her cycle for her period for 10 days, right? And things like that. And there is no help for them. And so that is one of the reasons why, for me, the academy is important, right? To help women to be able to, in their own simple way, understand themselves, understand what they can do. Lots of women and Christian women, we are praying and asking God for answers, and God is answering our prayers. He is sending people our way. And sometimes we look at the answers, not what we expect, but like the story with Naaman, right? Listen, there may be some things that you may need to do, right? But it's just the enlightenment. And so that's what the academy is for, to really help to bring enlightenment to women so that they can be able to step by step make some changes, not all at once, but step by step make some changes, and be a real advocate for yourself when you go to your medical practitioner.
Well, I think too, it's even deeper than just knowledge. I'm gonna speak for myself with my own personal experience, not even knowing what to ask.
Yeah.
So, not even knowing what to ask, just having a gut feeling. And my feeling is not just a gut feeling because I'm born again, I'm spirit filled. So the Holy Spirit will tell me what's going on when I ask. But everyone doesn't walk in that level of faith. Everyone doesn't have that type of relationship. So if I'm struggling and I know that 90% of the time I'm in tune with the Holy Spirit, what about the woman that's not in tune? Not even knowing what to ask, because there is power in the ask.
Yes.
So if you don't even know what to ask or what to look for or what you're being told, is it true or non-true? Or is this a conspiracy, as I said, because this was a real thing back in the 60s? We have documents of hundreds of African American women being fixed like animals so that they would not reproduce children, because it was an attempt of genocide. And in case you didn't know, genocide is still going on.
That's right.
Now it's tight, but it's right. And I'm going to say what God tells me to say. It's happening right now. It's very subtle.
Yes.
It's very subtle. It's not as open and blatant like it was back in the 50s with the Jim Crow, and even before Jim Crow, and even before Martin Luther King. This was going on. This was considered the norm. So now, fast forward, we are here as African American women here on Confident Woman Incubator podcast in 2022, still not really knowing what to ask.
That is so true.
Even before you get to the knowledge, it's not that we're not willing to read, because as you said, most of your clients are very highly professional women. They are academic women. They have done the work to show up here in America and beyond. So that's really not the issue. They're going here. They're just like that woman with the issue of blood. She was going here getting this answer and it wasn't working. She was looking for the answer. And no one had the answer. They just kept passing her around, taking her medical insurance, taking her co-pays, taking her money for this medicine, and it was not working. And that was 2,000 years ago.
That's right.
And it's still happening today in the marketplace. Now, I know that we are over time, but I want to hear from the guests. This is my show. I can do what I want. I want to hear from the guests because I know what I'm hearing. And if we want these women to first be awakened that this could be a possibility, we have to have these tight but right conversations. So I'm going to ask that from the panel. Have you ever thought about it in this way, that this could be a modern day a genocide, basically, or a modern day way to suppress African American women from having children that are married, that all fit all these different categories? So Merlin, tell me briefly what you think.
I have thought so, because sometimes, like when we go to when I would go to the doctor, or other women have told me they went to the doctor, like the doctors would they would more be willing to help a man, like giving him a medicine and say you're fine, but the women, they would say, oh, you're okay. Like, so I'm a person, but I don't have pain. Like they're not accepting that I feel pain. And I think that, like, for a man, they were like, oh, yes, men suffer, but women, like Black women, I feel like they're like, oh, you can deal with it. And I've seen where it has happened, where I had an operation one time and I was in the hospital and I almost died. And they waited till the Monday to do surgery on me. And I was there having this stuff inside of me, and they really they were not working as fast as they should. And when I look back on it, I'm seeing that was a God thing, because God was truly there with me, because what was happening to me was something that could have killed me, but he saw me through it. So I'm thinking that they're thinking Black women don't feel pain. And I don't know, but that's how I feel.
Thank you so much, Coach Kimberly. I go there now. When I hear, I know what I hear, and I know I'm hearing. I appreciate you being honest and just telling us how you feel, because that we can't get anywhere if we're not honest Thank you so much for just that confirmation, because I know I was sitting here and I could feel the conversation shifting. And I heard what the Holy Spirit was prompting me to say, because I can't be the only one that He's speaking this to. Thank you so much for your transparency, and thank God that He did intervene to save your life, ma'am. And thank you for being here on the podcast, willing to share that. This is just amazing. I'm lost for words. Miss Gloria, what's your thoughts? What's your honest thoughts?
My honest thought is that I think this information, having had this information, it's very much needed, as you said. It's really sad to see a lot of the infertility, menstrual issues, even within my community, the Ghanaian community. There's a lot of women that they don't know anything about their periods. I was telling Kim one time that I was very blessed that my mother, she didn't know anything about this, but would tell me little things that her mother passed on, and therefore I would check for certain things, for like such as the discharges and stuff like that, but I really didn't know what it really meant. And now coming in contact with him, it really made sense what my mother was telling me. And then I was able to actually go back and tell her that the reason, it's so good that you taught us to check these things, but this is the reason why we should check it. And she was like, oh, okay. So this information is so needed, because a lot of people, a lot of women don't know this, and they go about and they allow the medical professionals, so claimed doctors, who are supposed to know better, give and perform and do certain things on their bodies. And then later on, when they're looking for children, or are going through certain things, um, they don't really understand why. And it's because of the damage that was done from their early years. So for me, I think it's very much needed information, and I just pray for Kim that she will be able to spread this information, and our girls will know this information from a younger age, so that they will not get deceived and fall into the deceptions of these medical professionals and even social media and friends, and do things to their bodies that they will later on regret because they didn't know anything. So this information and what Kim is doing is very vital.
Miss Gloria, I'm gonna share this with you. When you were speaking, I began to hear the unnecessary hysterectomies.
Yes.
Dear God, help us, Lord. When you were speaking, I began to hear, and I started to feel sad. I don't know who's watching that's dealing with this issue. I'm hearing partial hysterectomies, full hysterectomies, and I'm hearing that it was unnecessary, but you were told that you needed it. Miss Marseille, you have feedback at this point?
I just wanted to say that for sure, menstrual care is not something that's discussed even within the medical profession, because I'm a nurse as well. And I have really never heard menstrual care discussed, not only in my socioeconomic context, but I believe across the board, until I really started getting some details from Coach Kimberly, honestly. I mean, I, of course, by this age, know what the menses are about and how they come about, etc. But the impact on the rest of our bodies, and the fact that the pills and other things that we take have such a strong set of consequences, those connections I never made or never heard of before my interactions with Coach Kimberly. And in terms of the disparities that you mentioned, what came to mind for me was the disproportionately high number of childbirth deaths in childbirth among women of color. And it all ties into this conversation. Yes, it may not be directly related to menses, but I sure Coach Kimberly might be able to enlighten us on that. But definitely, there for sure. Disparities and information sharing is not the same across the board, for sure, for sure.
So I'm also hearing that um, what about the young girls when they do get their period for their first time? It is almost a death sentence because you better not get pregnant. And you're viewed immediately as a whore.
I could just share my experience, if I may. When I, first saw that red smear, I was only told, "Oh, you're a young lady now." What that meant, I had no clue. It wasn't treated as something bad necessarily, but I just didn't know what I didn't know. I was a young lady now. Oh, I thought I was a girl all along.
Yeah, and and that's one of the reasons why for me right now the conversation need to start. Yes, and even at this point in time, for those those who are listening who have children, the whole conversation need to start about understanding your cycle, understanding what it is, and to be able to relate that to your daughters. I am privileged to be an instructor in menstrual health, and my daughter during the COVID heard me doing lots of the talking at home. And she was like, she asked me the questions, okay, my mommy, what's this here? And so I was able to forge a relationship, to start a conversation with her about what it is, the beauty of your body, the reason why you have it, the reason why you need a period. It helps your skin, it helps your bone, it helps your immune system, it helps your breast, right? There's so much benefits to your menstrual cycle, right? And I think we really need to, and it's a conversation point that we shouldn't be afraid to talk to our girls about their cycles, right? We talk to them, but we also teach them how valuable it is and priceless your uterus is. And, it's valuable, priceless. Don't give it away. Don't give it away. Just tell them, what, and it is sad because we know what is being streamed at them throughout the media, through friends and everything else, and it is so sad to see them destruct, to the point where there may, some of people, they say, okay, fine, I'm not going to get into a relationship until I reach 18 because I'm an adult. And then they're in university, they get pregnant, they have an abortion. And guess what? Years later, I've seen it. I've heard cries and tears as to why am I not getting this child anymore? Why? Right? After later on, and it's the regret of that child that was lost, right? And so I think we really need to really talk to our kids as much as we can. We need to keep having the conversation, but not to shy away as to why. Listen, I had a question asked me since my daughter was 6 years old. Mommy, how is it? You're brown and daddy is white and I got this color, right? And I was like 6 years old, 7 years old. Well, guess what? We had the conversation. And so we said, okay, guess what? Daddy comes to the party with his little suitcase of sperm, comes with his suitcase, and in it, that's his color, right? And then we join our color. And so she understood, you bake in the oven, and that's why you're like that, right? But we have to have the conversation.
Yeah.
And she's got it. She's got it right now. So we have to have the conversation. And girls are special.
Yeah, so we thank you. We would want to ask you to join us over on Confident Woman Incubator Clubhouse. We will be continuing this in-depth conversation even more on Confident Woman Incubator Clubhouse at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So just in about 15 minutes. You can follow me at Doreen.l.reid, R-E-I-D. That's Doreen, Doreen .Reid, Reid. And we will be in Confident Woman Incubator Clubhouse. We are going to be in our room, All Things Business Think Tank. And we're going to continue this celebration with Coach Kimberly Yhap as she has released her new coaching business, which is really an amazing platform to help us as women, especially women of color, make the mental and menstrual health connection. And that's what we've been talking about here on this platform tonight. So we want you to just go ahead to continue to share this out. You should have gone by now to Confident Woman Incubator podcast, our Facebook group, and shared it out. And of course, we want you to continue to join us for the conversation in Confident Woman Incubator Clubhouse. We'll be there in about 15 minutes. We'll be in All Things Business Think Tank, and you can follow me at Doreen, Doreen .L.Reid, Reid, and join the house so you can get notifications when we are there every week. You join the house by simply clicking on that green house that is at the top of your phone when you get into Confident Woman Incubator Clubhouse. So we thank you for joining us in this podcast. We're going to wrap everything up. And ladies, you know what to do. Go ahead and drop it in the comment. Hashtag the Confident Woman. We'll see you next week.
Okay.